Well, hi everybody. Welcome to this week's Garage, and I'm delighted to welcome Spanky Joshua Moore, who's a friend of ours. So, hi Spanky.
Kia ora, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Hey, so Spanky is known to Alpine. You were a guest at one of our retreats in Hannah Springs, and you were also due to be one of our key speakers at the gathering in Ashburton, which of course we didn't make it. So hopefully we can have you back another time. But it's great to have you on the Garage. So what kind of questions have you got mulling around at the moment?
It's interesting to bring up quite a lot of personal questions. Like I'm almost 40 this year, and that's bringing some interesting questions for me personally, as you wonder, what have you done? What have you done so far in life, and what are you going to do next? But I think in terms of some questions for me around mission and the church, I'm amazed, really, how committed and how entrenched we are to doing things the way that we're really comfortable with and the way that we're really familiar with, and just how deeply committed we are to those things until something comes and knocks us off our axis, and then suddenly it opens up a whole new possibilities within us. And I guess two examples I see is I've been around church leaders for years who would say why we should never go online with anything, that it's sort of fundamentally opposed to everything Jesus is about. But within 48 hours, everyone seemed to think it was a marvelous idea, and suddenly their theology had profoundly adapted because they realized the world had changed and it had opened up a whole lot of new creative thinking within them. Do you know what I mean? That suddenly they were given permission to think in different ways. And I think the same thing's going on with Black Lives Matter. I think that we're really starting to have to take some hard looks at our own perspective on things and actually what other people's perspective has been. So I think one of the things that I'm mulling around is actually, I wonder how many things we've done in our church lives that aren't very effective, and we just do it out of obligation and because we sort of know how it works. And that actually when we get in touch with some of the stuff that energizes us and brings us real passion, it's amazing how attractive other people find that. Like, it's amazing how people are drawn to, like, I think of the little community I run, which is for young adults who are out of church. I tell lots of ministers about it and they think it's great, but at the same time, they're not passionate about that. And so they go, oh yeah, it's a bit like a car accident. Interesting to look at. Wouldn't want to get too involved in it. And I'm interested how though, when I start sharing it with the young adults I work with, I think they think I'm crazy. I think they listen to what I'm offering and they go, that sounds miserable. Why would I want to tie my life down to that? But there's something around my passion and my enthusiasm and the way that that's connected with the kingdom of God that they're drawn into. And I wish within myself I could actually focus a lot more on how God's made me and made me to do my ministry rather than all the shoulds that of how I should be delivering ministry. I wonder how, if COVID's opened up some space for us to really reassess our own vocation and our own calling and what might be most effective. So not just what might make us feel good, that actually when you're doing your own vocation and your own calling, you're actually way more effective. So that has been something I've been pondering around. What would that mean for me? What would that mean for the church that we serve?
That's quite a challenging thought, because if we do that, then who's going to do all the other stuff?
Yeah. And I mean, I do get that that's a challenging thought, but I don't think we've ever given ourselves permission to even think it, to then begin to go down the rabbit warren of, well, both how much stuff are we doing that we don't need to do and how much stuff actually would still get done. Like, I just think we're so scared to even entertain that idea for a day. Well, let's just do a thought experiment for a day. If I was to do the stuff where I was really energized, would all of the work not get done? Like, I just wonder if it will get done in a different way, or that we would have to enlist others who are, so we're not the heroes, we'd have to enlist others and raise up others who might do some of those things. And I just watch many ministers as we explore this, they become very uncomfortable, I think. I think there's a lot of duty and responsibility within us. And actually, what I'm wanting to say is I wonder how much our passion and our gifts and our callings are actually a much more effective way and a much more appealing way to lead a community. So I don't know. What do you think of that?
I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think imagine if we gave permission to do that in community and work towards that for everyone working in that kind of space or living out that kind of space. That'd be very cool.
Well, hear me right too. It might be the worst idea in the world. So, like, I'm not even telling you that this is the way ahead, but I think that even when we say, well, let's just think about what that might look like for a day, I think we're worried we'll get our hopes up and that will then be dashed and have to go back to our miserable duty list. And so we don't even want to think about it. Yeah. And I'm just saying, maybe COVID's an invitation to even just really think about how God's made you, what gets you excited. I've spoken to quite a lot of ministers, the prospect of going back to Sunday, they are nervous about, because, they're like, it's actually been quite nice being, they're torn. They're torn around it. And it would be interesting to just get underneath that a little bit and see what would it look like when you turn up together your community to be kind of excited about that. Now, I'm not saying some people, I'm certain, are excited, but I wonder if just to even pose the question, if there would be a way where we could be using more of our passion and our gifts and our loves in our ministry. And my main point being, other people find that really appealing. Like they actually, that draws people in. And you're made way more committed to it. That's the other thing I've noticed, is you're willing to pay great costs if it's really in line with your commitment. And people are often intrigued by that too. So yeah, I find my passions contagious, while the things I do out of duty are less contagious.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so good. Thanks, buddy.